Hello everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where we talk all things planners, fountain pens, and fountain pen inks. Today, I'm doing my April currently inked, and you're probably noticing that I am not doing 15 inks 30 days for April. Basically, after March and really the first quarter of the year, I've noticed that I'm struggling keeping up with things, and I wanted to keep April at a sustainable pace for me, which is why I'm inking up 12 pens rather than doing 15 inks 30 days. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with keeping it to the 12 pens with the pace that I am working with right now. So what I'll be doing is I'll be swatching the ink as well as writing the pen and ink pairing. And then at the end, I will show you all of the swatches dried along with the pens as well. And I will be swatching in my Hobonichi A5 notebook using my Browse ornament nib. And this is on the nib holder from Zodiac Pen Co. Let's get started. The first pen and ink combination is my Leonardo Momento Zero, and this is in the Via Lattea. This was a limited edition that I purchased from Stilo A Stile. Was it November 23 for Fountain Pen Day that year? But anyway, I'm inking it up with Pen BBS Mung Bean. Now, when I choose my pen and ink combinations, I want to do a mix of new inks that I've just recently received, plus going into my collection of inks that I have used before and want to reuse again. And for me, that's one of the ways that I can make sure that I'm really appreciating my ink collection is rotating between both new and seasoned inks in my collection. Look at this lovely, lovely brown. I know it's not like the most springy of colors, but you know me, I need to have at least one brown in my ink collection or in my currently inked. So this is my Leonardo Momento Zero. And this has, of course, an extra fine nib. And this is the Via Lattea. And I remember when I purchased this, I went through a whole roller coaster of emotions to purchase this because the website was down, and I'm just glad that I was able to get it. And originally I wanted this in fine and then the Andromeda in extra fine, but then I could only get both in extra fine, and I actually don't regret that at all. So look at that. I think that's such a perfect match. So that is my Leonardo Momento Zero in Via Lattea with Pen BBS number 443 Mung Bean Cake. The next pen and ink pairing is not necessarily an exact match, but I think it will still work. I have my Heinz Pen Co. This is in the Model K in Heimdall. Can we just look at all of the brown shimmers in here? And I have it inked with Colorverse Brunch Date. Again, another ink that I've had in my collection for a while. And I've used this before, but it's one of those inks that, I mean, I bought a bottle, I've used it once, and I need to make sure that I am using the inks that are still in my collection. Because the whole point was that I purchased the bottles because I love the ink so much, like that dusty kind of coral pink. And it can get really overwhelming with all of the new samples that we get all the time. And our collections just get larger and larger. And then we can tend to forget the ones that we do have in our collection. So that's one of the ways I think for me that works in terms of making sure that I'm appreciating my current collection. Is this an extra fine? Of course, it's an extra fine. And making sure that I have half of the inks that I'm using in my currently inked are from my collection of bottles and inks that I've used before, and half with new ones that have come in. So I'm not completely overwhelmed with all the new that's out there. I know it's not an exact match, but it's just, I couldn't resist putting the two together. So that's my Heinz Pen Co. Model K in Heimdall with Colorverse Brunch Date. Our next pen and ink pairing is another one that I've had in my collection for a while. It is Sailor Ink Studio 273 with my Laban 325 in Snow. And I mean, okay, the color on the bottle is definitely not representative of the ink inside, but I thought these two match, but we'll see if the ink actually matches as well. Now, I was actually looking through my A5 multi-year journal from last year, and I actually did use this ink last year for 15 inks 30 days. And when I was writing my journal entry, I was using this same pen, or sorry, this same ink on the same day last year. So funny how that works. I love that so much. The chromo shading in this ink is just stunning. And last year, I can't remember what pen that I used, and it was definitely a finer nib than this, but I do really like this pen. So the Laban 325 in Snow, and this has an extra fine nib. And recently I've been going through my collection, and I thought, is this one that I would like to sell? Oh, I already put Snow, but whatever. Is this one that I would like to sell? And really, each time that I ink it up, I love it. I love the way this feels in my hand. I love the way that the nib writes, even though it's just like a number 6 Yovo extra fine nib. I just love the overall combination together. So that is my Laban 325 in Snow with Sailor Ink Studio 273. The next pen and ink combination is my Esterbrook SD in Honeycomb, and this has a needlepoint nib, and I have it paired with Diamine Sepia. I have to admit that I've definitely decreased the amount of Esties in my collection in the last few months here, and I never thought I would do that. I had quite a few Esterbrook Esties in my collection, and actually at one point I thought I need to collect all of them. But the more that I am in this hobby, my tastes change, my preferences change, and you know, what I liked when I first got into Esterbrook Esties has definitely changed since then. I really do love how this feels in the hand, but I don't need every single colorway of this pen, especially if the nib is going to be exactly the same in all of these. So this is my Esterbrook SD, and this has a needlepoint nib, and this is in Honeycomb, and this is Diamine Sepia. Wow, I cannot write my letter M's. Diamine Sepia. Like, don't get me wrong, I still have 3 Esties and 2 Model Js, and I think that is the perfect amount of Esterbrook's in my collection. Definitely don't need any more, but that I think is such a perfect match. Oops, I dropped something. Those two together are gonna be so fun to use this month. So that is my Esterbrook SD Honeycomb with Diamine Sepia. The next pen and ink pairing that I have is my Pilot Kakuno, and this is in one of the Madoromi series, the Madoromi White, and I have it inked with a Pilot Iroshizuku Chiku-Rin. Again, another ink, and I feel like these first few are inks that I've had in my collection for a while and am revisiting. Now, the ink definitely doesn't match the pen body here, but it's such a beautiful spring ink, and pairing Pilot with Pilot just made sense. It's an ink that I've had in my collection for quite a while, and if you're looking for a really great green springy summer ink, Chiku-Rin is definitely one. So this is my Pilot Kakuno, and this has an extra fine nib. I did have to tune and smooth this a little bit because the extra fine nibs with Pilot are definitely very, well, they're scratchy. This is the Madoromi White. And the Madoromi series doesn't come with the extra fine nibs. I actually had to purchase one from I took the extra fine nib from a clear Kakuno that I purchased off of Amazon and put it in here. And this is Pilot, Iroshizuku, Chiku-Rin. Now, because of how wet this ink is and how well it works with the Pilot nib, it feels like it's writing more like a Pilot fine than a Pilot extra fine, but I'm not mad about that. So that is my Pilot Kakuno with Pilot Iroshizuku Chiku-Rin. Next, we have a combination I'm actually really excited about. I have Diamine Wishing Tree. This is from the Diamine Black ink vent, and I have it inked in my Waterman Carene in the Sea Green Shimmer, and this has an extra, well, a fine nib that's been ground down to an extra fine. I feel like there's a theme with how fine my nibs are today, except I think for one or two. And this one is oh gosh, look at that gorgeous shimmer. And I think it's the perfect match for this pen. Now, this is one of the newer inks in my collection that I haven't inked up in my pen yet. So, like I said, I try to do a mix of inks that I haven't put in a pen before versus those that I've had in my collection for quite some time. And that really helps me rotate through what I have and make sure I'm using what I have. So this is my Waterman Carene, and this is basically an extra fine nib, and this is in the Sea Green Shimmer. Oh, look at that shimmer. And this is in the Diamine, what did I call it? Wishing Tree. That shimmer is really, yeah, that's like hitting you in the face, that shimmer. Beautiful. Oh, I can't wait to write with that. The next pen and ink combination is the one that I'm actually using in my Hobonichi A6 5-year journal for the month of April. It is my newest Platinum 3776 in the Unkei, it is the Fuji Unkei Kinu-Gumo. And I have it inked with Herbin Vert de Gris. I have already used this pen a couple of times this month for my Hobonichi A6 5-year journal, and I am loving the extra fine nib in this so much. Now, it's so funny that when I put this down, this definitely looks more gray now than when I was doing like my original swatch when I first inked this pen. But I really like it. And actually, trying to find a green that would work with his pen was so difficult for me. So I think I need to invest in a few more greens. So this is my Platinum 3776, and this has an extra fine nib. And this is in the Fuji Unkei Kinu-Gumo. Kinu-Gumo. Goodness gracious, I'm so sorry. And this is Herbin Vert de Gris. And I love that this green is just more of a muted green, kind of a grayish green, and I really do need to find an ink that matches that better. And I think I may have one already in my collection, but I wanted to use something different. And I haven't used this ink in a while, so I thought let's use the Herbin ink. So that is my Platinum 3776 with Herbin Vert de Gris, and I'm so excited for this extra fine nib. The next pen and ink pairing is my Franklin-Christoph, and this is in the Van Ness exclusive in the Model 2, and I have it inked with Waringal Robinson Crusoe. I got this ink actually at the most recent fountain pen meetup locally, and I am so happy to have found a regular fountain pen meetup. And it's just so fun to sit around and, one, eat really yummy food, but two, just watch inks and look through people's pen collections and ink collections. And the group of ladies that have welcomed me into their group are just the nicest. And I am so grateful to have found them. And I haven't scared them away. So this is Franklin-Christoph Model 2, and this actually has a medium Kadachi. And this is the Van Ness. Oh yeah, Van Ness exclusive. And this is Wearingool Robinson Crusoe. I know this ink is definitely more blue than the pen itself, but I'm not mad about that. But I also think that this nib, the Kadachi grind, is going to be great at showing off the properties of this ink. So that is my Franklin-Christoph Model 2 with Wearingool Robinson Crusoe. The next pen and ink, oh my gosh, I keep doing this. The next pen and ink pairing is my Zodiac pen coat. This was our collaboration in the Sea Glass Kaleidoscope, and I have it inked with Vinta Laban, where I actually got this as a sample from my most recent fountain pen meetup as well. And I'm so curious as to how this ink is going to perform, because this is a total shimmer bomb. And I'm wondering if the shimmer is going to be consistent, whether it's going to perform well. Yeah, I hope this ink doesn't have like any performance anxiety issues or anything like that. I just hope the shimmer is consistent, because look at that. I love the base color, and then you have that bright pink in there. Now, again, this one is not an exact match for Sea Glass Kaleidoscope, but that's okay. Like, for example, like my dear friend Gris, she doesn't really match her pens and inks, and I admire that about her. This is the Sagittarius model. And this is an extra fine. I believe it's an extra fine. Did I get this ground down? I can't remember. And this is the Sea Glass Kaleidoscope. And the ink is Vinta Laban. So far, it's actually not doing too badly. I haven't had any hard starts with it or anything, so we'll see how those two perform together. But like, honestly, with this particular pen, you could put in pretty much any ink in there and it would still go really well. So that is my Zodiac pen co in the Sea Glass Kaleidoscope with Vinta Laban. The next pen and ink pairing is my Just Turnings in the Moody Orchid. So another collaboration with another maker here, and I have it inked with Diamine Nostalgia. If you did not see my pen and ink pairing video, go ahead and check that out. It's so fun to do those, and I was definitely inspired by Julia of Julia Here when she does her pen and ink pairing explorations to see all the different inks that could possibly go with a pen. And I love Nostalgia to the point where I may, when the full bottles of these come out, I may have to get a full bottle because it's just stunning. Making sure I'm drying off my nib here and closing the sample, because knowing me, I have spilled my fair share of ink. And this is Just Turnings. And I believe this is the Enceladus model. And this has an extra fine nib. And this is in the Moody Orchid. When we have Diamine Nostalgia. I really wanted to use this because the brown base with the pink shimmer really lends itself well to the purple here, as well as the bits of gray in here. I just love the two together. So Just Turnings Moody Orchid with Diamine Nostalgia. Gosh, it's totally out of frame. There we go. My next pen and ink pairing is my Esterbrook Model J in Violet. And I actually have to double check Yes, violet. And I have it inked with Pen BBS Strawberry Milkshake. This one was sent to me by a pen friend, and there were quite a few that they sent to me as well. And I'm so grateful for fountain pen friends. Oh, I got a drop there on another page. But just look at how rich this purple looks. And don't worry, I will show you all of these once they're dried, because yes, while the way that they look when they go down is beautiful, the overall dried result is something else entirely. So the Esterbrook Model J, I also used to have 3 of these, and I'm now down to 2. Esterbrook Model J. And this has a fine cursive smooth italic nib, which I'm finding now that the more that I'm using like the extra fines or fines and platinum and pilot, this is feeling very broad for me. This is in the violet. And this is Pen BBS Strawberry Milkshake. It's amazing how, again, taste change. This feels really big for me, but it's not. It's a fine cursive smooth italic, and I love the nib. I love how slicey yet still smooth it is. So I don't know, we'll see how I feel about that pen. Let's move that down just a little bit. So that is my Esterbrook Esterbrook Model J in violet with Pen BBS Strawberry Milkshake. And last but not least, I have inked, what do I have here? I have Kitty Inkpot Starry Sky and Midsummer Night, and I have it inked in my TWSBI Eco Cream Rose Gold. Now I think there's still some shimmer particles in here from the last time I inked this, even though I tried to clean it out as much as possible. But hey, a little shimmer mixed in with another ink I'm not mad about that at all. So let's get some on my brows ornament nib here. This was an ink sample that I purchased from So and So in Australia, and I may purchase another one again because the Kitty Inkpot inks have all been so tremendous. And I'm tempted to purchase a few more samples, but also maybe a bottle of like Fluffy Wool Ball or Elegy of the Fallen, some of like the really some of the ones that have really stuck out for me. But all of the Kitty Inkpot ones that I've tried, I know some people would find them too light, but I really like them. Like the chromo shading that happens with them is just stunning. So this is my TWSBI Eco. I can't remember if this one is a fine or an extra fine. Cream with Rose Gold is a fine nib. And actually, that's why I'm glad that I put this ink in there, because the fine nib will help the shading come out a bit more. So this is Cream, Rose Gold, and this is Kitty Inkpot, Starry Sky, and Midsummer Night. I really like that. And then when it's dried, it's just stunning. So there we go. I will show you all of these pen and ink pairings once that has dried, and I'll be right back. So there are all of the inks dried, and I'm really looking forward to the Starry Sky and Midsummer Night from Kitty Inkpot. Strawberry Milkshake. I love the way that it lightens up. And then Vinta By. I hope that shimmer stays consistent. Sailor Ink Studio 273 is always a favorite of mine. And then I'm really looking forward to these. So let's show the pens with these pairings. There we go. So there is my April currently inked. I know there's no rainbow happening, but I'm okay with that, especially in the pens. There's no rainbow happening, but I'm looking forward to these inks. I know I don't really have a spring color palette here, but I'm totally okay with that. I'm happy and excited to use up some of the inks that I've had in my collection for a while, plus new inks as well. All right, what do you all have inked up for April? Let me know. Or are you taking part in 30 Inks 30 Days? Let me know as well. All right, thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe. Thanks again, and have yourselves a great day.